Colonel MacGregor joins us now. Colonel, always a pleasure. Thank you for joining us. What is your latest view from open sources and from your own sources about the cause of the explosion in the dam and in eastern Ukraine about 10 days ago, and who suffered more because of it, the Russians or the Ukrainians?
Well, the consensus appears to be that the Ukrainians did it. And I'm told that it actually was approved, if you will, for demolition by Victoria Nuland, which is kind of interesting. I don't know. And again, you have the intelligence officers. I think they've probably said something similar.
Yes,
but as far as who benefits, well, the Ukrainians certainly did not benefit from this at all. But I think it probably assisted the Russians because it created a situation where they had less to defend, obviously, and their left flank was effectively invulnerable to amphibious assault, even though I think that probably would have resulted in still more Ukrainian casualties.
Would something of this magnitude, I guess if Victoria Nuland was involved, I was going to ask you if Washington approved, that answers that question. If she was involved, Washington would approve of something like this. Does she, who is not a military person, get in, as far as you know, get involved in the minutiae of military strategy?
I have no way of knowing that, Judge. I'm just telling you what I was told by the sources that I trust. And it seems reasonable that if you're going to take a big action, any sort of big action, you're going to send your special operations forces into Russia, try to assassinate someone, fly drones into the Kremlin or something, you're probably going to ask your sponsors in Washington, what do you think? And that means that she's going to be involved. She's been involved in everything happening in Ukraine, really, I would say now for at least 14, 15 years, if not longer.
The spring offensive is becoming a summer offensive. What is your take? What is your understanding of its success or its failures thus far, and its likely progression from this time forward?
There are a lot of interesting reports out there, and if you have time, and I don't think most people do, you begin to look at these reports of Ukrainian gains, you discover that in many cases, the areas where they are claiming that they made gains are nowhere near the battlefield. They're not even in the security zone. And a few times they'll point to some ruined buildings, 2 or 3 at a time inside the security zone. And that's this 15 to 25 kilometer stretch of territory beyond the main defensive belt that the Russians have constructed. So I would tell you there have been no gains at all because everything always hinged on the ability of the Ukrainian counteroffensive to reach the main defensive belt, crack it, move through it in order to reach something of importance like Melitopol. It hasn't happened. And we're now at least 11 days into what the Ukrainians said would be a 2-week offensive. How much they've got left is anybody's guess. The last time I looked, there were supposedly still 12 brigades in reserve. Now, are those full-strength brigades? Or, conceivably that could be 60,000 men if they're up to 5,000 each. Or are they 4,000? Are they 3,000, 2,000? I don't know. But at this stage of the game, they have not yet committed those last remaining reserves.
Would those last remaining reserves be the last remaining reserves, period, for the duration of the war, or just for this offensive? Because 60,000 men doesn't sound like a lot to me when you consider what Putin has.
Well, I'm told the likely number is closer to 35 to 40,000, not 60. I don't think there's much left, frankly. And I think that's reflected in the headlines that you're getting out of Washington right now. The discussions about, as we talked last time, frozen conflict, setting up some sort of halfway house. Washington knows that Ukraine is close to collapse.